admitted that there is a little sheen that Australia has lost. There is some luster that the Australian education sector has lost simply because of the length of the shutdown, lockdown, the length, 20 months already now, when students have not been able to return to campus. Those who've been stranded in India remain stranded there, and obviously have not been satisfied with still paying the same tuition fees and getting online courses, etc., etc. And it is also a fact, and this is perhaps the point I wanted to make, where the Australian government might have lost a trick, but I suppose they had their own reasons. They were following their own health experts' advice, so beyond a point you cannot be overcritical, because these are sovereign decisions that any government, any society will make for itself. But the other three, other than Australia, the other three countries that compete for Indian students are UK, USA and Canada. And Canada was just now mentioned by the questioner. And all these three countries, all of them, while they still had their borders closed for other categories of visitors, did carve out over the last summer, the Northern Hemisphere summer, they did carve out special exemptions for student visa holders so that students could still go and begin their fall semester, typically in September in these countries. So they did actually do that, and so in a sense they were competing with Australia. Australia has had superb success in the last several years to attract more and more international students, particularly Indian students, and for good reason. They find this a very, very good place to come to study, and even the post-graduation facilities and rights that they have are very attractive. And therefore, I think the other three countries perhaps got a chance also to say that, look, we can hit back, as it were, and this is one way that they did. And yes, I believe, and I have met already 2 universities here in Melbourne today. I'm meeting a third one tomorrow. I've met universities in Sydney and in Brisbane, and all of them admit that they have taken a hit. There has been some reduction in new enrollments, but I also believe that this would be a short-term blip. I believe that the larger overall value proposition that the Australian universities and education sector offers to Indian students or potential Indian students, all that is attractive enough for Australian universities to bounce back fairly quickly. So while right now there might have been a shortfall, and I think the February and March terms, which will begin soon, will see a reduction in the numbers. I suspect that by the time it's July term, you will see a rising graph again, and possibly by the end of 2022, you will see at least the numbers restored to pre-COVID levels. And I'm sure the Australians are very smart people. I admire them for what they do and how they do it, and I'm sure that they will also be coming up with even more facilities and even more attractive ways of getting more and more